is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I am Sean Woodland, joined as always by Tommy Marquez. Lauren Khalil is on assignment, gallivanting around the world someplace, so we'll sally forth without her. But how you doing, man? How's building the house going? Right? We're getting close here, right?
We are. Drywall got textured. So flooring, cabinets, that kind of stuff is going to start coming in next.
That's the fun stuff.
Yeah, I spent a good portion of today cleaning with the garage floor to seal it. We're going to put a sealant on it. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there scrubbing the garage floor, and I was just like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was nice. Yeah, but we're moving. We're moving. It's good. Like having the walls up with like drywall feels like a house now.
Yeah. That's great, man. There's that new house smell. I'm excited.
Oh, man.
That's great.
Yeah. Can't wait.
No, it's good stuff. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. Our featured guest is the defending, reigning fittest man on earth, Jayson Hopper. Tommy and I were able to talk to him a couple days ago, so we'll bring you that interview. Also got a lot of news going on with people announcing retirements and some venues changing with the World Fitness Project. Before we talk about that, I want to thank our sponsor for today, and that is Thirdzy and their Rest and Recovery Collagen. You can go to thirdzy.com. That's THIRDZY.com. Use our code TEF, and you will save 20% on your order. And they're actually running an open promotion right now where you're going to get an extra 5% off, which is great.
Yeah,
starts on February the 26th. So as you're listening to this, it's going on. It goes through March 16th. That's right. So just use the code TEF to save 25% on all your orders. Now remember, the open isn't just about how fit you are. It's also about how well you recover. Yes, you between workouts, and that recovery becomes even more important, especially, if you're someone like, you and I, Tommy, we like to redo things. We like to push it a little bit. So, maybe we're, 3 max effort weeks in a row adds up fast, right? So if you manage sleep and recover properly, you don't just feel better. You're going to get ranked higher on the leaderboard, and you're going to be able to talk more smack to your friends. So check out Thirdzy and their Rest and Recovery Collagen. No melatonin in it, not habit forming. It has GABA, L-theanine, magnesium, calms your central nervous system, helps you get to sleep faster, stay asleep longer. And again, open promotion going on right now. TEF is the code. It's going to get you an extra 5% off. So 25% off your order from February 26th until March 16th. That's a deal.
Let's be honest. You're going to do the redo anyways. Might as well stack a couple of good nights of sleep in between. The Friday, Monday split, We've all been there.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have many opportunities for redo, so I'll probably just, go to Plaid and see what happens. But I've decided that, actually, Chase and I were talking today, I think we're both going to have to do 26.3 in Miami at some point.
That's not bad.
No, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it because I've never, in the handful of times that I've been to Wadapalooza, I've never been able to take part in any of that stuff, like the gauntlet and all that. So I'm actually, I think it'll be fun to be. I don't think I've ever really competed on an actual or worked out. I'm not going to say competed on an actual competition floor. So that's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that.
I will say the old double silences are going to feel nice because it's nice and warm there. Got some humidity in Florida. Get some of that moisture, loosen up the joints.
The first 3 things that are going into my bag, my Thirdzy and my 2 knee sleeves.
Oh, man.
You got to make sure you're protected. So,
yeah.
All right, well, let's get into it. Let's start with a big announcement that was made. As you all are probably aware by now, Pat Vellner took to social media and said that this is going to be his last season. I don't think anybody's super shocked by this, but he did say he's going to make another run at the CrossFit Games season. Mm-hmm. So he's a guy that sat out last year, coming back this year. And Pat Vellner I think he's one of those guys that is going to continue to have an impact on this sport and this community, maybe an even bigger one when he is done competing. Kind of like what Brent Fikowski has done.
Agreed. I mean, both for, for Brent when he was done, same with Pat. I think you get a sense of what they meant to the broader sport, specifically the athletes too, by the comments in the comment section on the post from all the other athletes that he competed with, who are honored, who have been honored to share the floor with him, who looked up to him as athletes. And it's interesting because Pat and Brent were this interesting bridge generation, I would say. You had the Froning era, you had the Fraser era, and sandwiched in that Fraser era, between that Fraser era and this new one that has kind of unfolded, you have these athletes that have had tremendous longevity in the sport, that have carried through a couple of generations and have seen some of that younger athletes join them as peers. Brent's that, BK's that, Jona's that, I would say Cole Sager's that, Pat is certainly that. And Pat has been someone that I think a lot of young athletes looked up to because of how he competed and how he trained and the thoughtfulness that he put into everything and his willingness to not let fear of the unknown dictate his effort.
Yeah.
Pat was not afraid to put himself out there and sometimes fail spectacularly. And also, on the other hand, on the other side of that, hit some home runs. And he always did so with great intentions, a good, thoughtful approach. And I think you when you watch top athletes in the background warm up, you can tell which guys are which athletes, especially who are the aged vets, who are the pros. Pat embodies the pros pro kind of mentality you hear thrown around in other sports. And I think the competitive athlete side of it is going to miss him dearly because of how he competes and the aura that he brings to the floor. But I also agree with you wholeheartedly that he's going to make it. I think he can make a huge impact behind the scenes as well, and applying that wisdom outside the competition field ropes, where he his word carries weight.
If we had a CrossFit Hall of Fame, is he first ballot?
For sure. I would argue that you could maybe, if you're going off of, I had this thought the other day, he might be on, if you just had a Mount Rushmore of CrossFit Games athletes for the men, you could argue he's in that.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely make a compelling case.
Fraser and Froning go up there automatically, right? And then you look at the other athletes that have either won titles or have had tremendous success over a long period of time. I think Jayson as an OG goes up there, having won in the early era, but also backing up medals in multiple eras. I think you look at, obviously, Justin having won back-to-back. That's a huge deal. But then if you look at total accolades, Ben Smith belongs up there. That's where I think Pat fits in. I mean, he starts his career 16, 17, 18, 3 straight CrossFit Games individual medals. 1920 kind of has those weird years where I really think the format kind of kept him back. And then he comes right back and then starts racking off podiums again. And for me, I look about, all right, he's got, enough medals to, go all the way across his chest in just about every color against gold. He's won Rogue multiple times. He's won Wadapalooza multiple times. He podiumed at Dubai. He's won qualifying events, regionals, all of those things. He's basically done everything the sport has to offer outside of winning an individual title. But I think his individual wins in the other major arenas stand as proof that he's a winner. So you'd be hard pressed to keep him off that.
Yeah,
because of the impact.
And here's the thing too. I've covered other sports, other professional sports. I've covered a lot of really just not good people, and they're not fun to talk to. You have to. They're jerks. That is, Pat Vellner is not that. He is humble. He was always willing to give his time. There was times where we would be texting and then we would just get on the phone and bat around ideas about things. And he was always willing to do that. His parents are amazing. Always in a great mood. Pat could be in, 39th place after bombing an event. His dad got to get him on the next one. And he's just totally positive.
And he's he'll crack a joke.
Whatever.
He'll be at least we're used to this.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to battle back,
Yeah, but he has been one of my favorite athletes to cover in any sport. Always not afraid to speak his mind, always willing to give you his time. And I think just a super good person. And I think he and Brent Fikowski will continue to make an impact on this community and on this sport. And it's not like, this is not a retirement where it's like, peace out, I'm done, I'm never touching, like, you're never going to see me again. I think I think good things are ahead for Pat Vellner.
And also, he deserves credit for as one of the athletes that has consistently maintained a career outside of being an athlete on top of that the entire time. Yeah. And he's done that while, they're building their family. They built a house. He's done all these other things in addition to being an athlete that I think has made him such a dynamic human. On top of just being a good hang too.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Like I can always bank off the games, off of whether it's WFP, Rogue, or any of the big events, that at the end of that award ceremony, when the pizza and beer come out, you can go and clink bottles on a frosty froth wagon with old Uncle Pat and just have a good chat with him. And he has a good perspective and a good balance about it too.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it'll be, obviously it's now a fun story to follow throughout the season. And hopefully we see him competing in San Jose at the CrossFit Games. And I think that's another reason I would just add on to the whole justification for, if there were a Hall of Fame, that you would have to put him in it. You look at the success that he has had throughout his career. Like it's not like this has really tapered off very much. He's maintained a level of consistency into his, master's age now. That is pretty impressive. Given to and you're going to see this, if you would have seen this on the open broadcast, depending on when you're listening to this or watching this, but the 4 guys competing in 26.1 are all 27 or younger. That's his competition, and that makes a difference. Those years make a difference. So
they do.
He's going to be missed. Hopefully we'll be able to talk to him sometime during the season. But anyway,
For sure.
Moving on to the next thing, World Fitness Project. They were going to kick off the season in Mexico City. That has now changed. They're moving it to London. I mean, I feel like this is that's a great location either way. But you're more heavily involved in this than I am. So what can you tell us about why this decision was made?
Well, not everyone maybe is clued into what's going on in Mexico as some of us in the States here, especially where we're at in California, because of the heavy influence of Hispanic culture and my hometown is literally built around Hispanic people and the produce industry. And unfortunately, there's been some crazy cartel violence in Mexico going on. It was kind of in response to, I believe, one of the cartel leads being taken out by. It was like a joint operation, I think, by the Mexican army, as well as I think the U.S. maybe had some help. And as a response, they started just tearing up Puerto Vallarta, a couple other places as well. There's you can go, if you're really interested, you can go and look at all the different documented instances of cartel violence and destruction going on. That being said, with that in mind, there's been some travel advisories and some do not travel statements issued. And because of the timing and the turnaround and not much runway to make a decision, they decided to move for the safety of the athletes, for everyone traveling, and just to make sure that, that doesn't have an effect or impact the event. And I mean, it sucks, right? Like, I think a lot of people were excited to go to Mexico. I think the Mexican community was pumped to have them. If you look at the statement and every quote that's been mentioned, they talk about, hey, we're bummed to not go to Mexico yet.
Yeah.
And everything is in the tense of we are going to go there. We will be here. We'll be back. We just can't come right now. It doesn't make sense given everything that's transpired. So, and you can go, I believe Brian had an interview with Jason Ainsley the competition director talking through all that on the WFP channel as well. And he talks through all the reasons why they had to make that decision, because obviously qualifiers and people traveling and venue adjustments and all of those things, that dominoes that have to fall in order for that to happen. So as a result, the qualifiers being extended, so anyone can adjust accordingly and get qualifier scores updated, or maybe you are able to travel to London now that weren't able to travel to Mexico. So they're pivoting. I think it's the right choice.
Yeah.
As much as I would love to go to Mexico City, it's just it sucks.
Yeah.
You never want that. You never want this to be the reason why, but they'll be back. I know that it's been important for the WFP, the entire team, to hit these different markets that haven't had a ton of exposure to high level competition in a big format. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is that they did it right away. So plenty of time to make the adjustment. So good on them for that. And like you said, you feel bad for the community there, because as you and I know firsthand, you get south of the border here and you put events on, like, people show up and it's a great environment. And I give the World Fitness Project credit for trying to lean in and engage with some of those markets that have passion, but are like severely underserved.
Yeah.
So I hope that they make it back, and it's too bad that those were the circumstances under which this had to happen, but definitely the right choice. You just, you don't want to, you don't want to think about what could possibly come from that. It's just not worth the risk.
Look, I have I guess you call it secondhand experience with this. Like, I've been down there. Spent a good amount of time in Mexico, and I've had friends that were in our group that were in a different car and traveling in a different group. Like, have experiences with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that
type of activity happening directly in front of them, and it's just not something you want to introduce into the scenario. And that's an unfortunate circumstance right now that has to be dealt with.
All right. We can talk about the Open on the backside of this, because, again, I'm not sure when people are going to be listening to this. Actually, here's what I'll say. I think the first Open announcement, I don't know when you're listening to this, but I think it's going to be really good. I'm really excited to watch those 4 guys throw down. The venue's cool the way they have it laid out. They're going to have 4 airmen from the base do the workout, and you're also going to get a sneak peek of the new documentary. So if you watch the whole show and you stick around to the very end, they're going to show you a good clip of the upcoming Fittest on Earth 2025 documentary. So it's going to be fun, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a fun kickoff to the season, and I'm all signed up, got that taken care of. So I'm in.
Heck yeah.
And we'll see what happens here. But,
shoot. I keep forgetting. I get signed up.
You got time. Just as long as you sign up for Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific time,
Yeah. Every year I do this. But my thought, and I've waffled on this, like, are they going to do something substantial, or are they going to do something accessible? We always lean into accessibility on the first one. I don't know why. Like, we haven't had push-ups. Push-ups are really hard to judge.
You'd have to do hand release.
So I was thinking, like, hand release Cindy type thing, maybe a pressing Cindy with, like, dumbbells. I don't know, maybe like there was that deadlift push up box jump workout from the very first Open that has never seen the light of day since.
Yeah,
I was just trying to think of something accessible like that. Because initially I thought 18-1, but I don't know if you'd repeat right at the
There
gates.
was another clue that was clearly done by AI. I don't know if you saw that the CrossFit Games put out. I'm looking for it right now. It was like an animation.
Oh, no. I just saw the weird buffalo eye.
Yeah, that was the first one. Hang on. Efforting. And again, if you've already
seen it,
then, this is then you can look and see if this makes
then you can point and laugh.
Oh yeah. So it was this. Hang on. It was like this. Hang on, let me get this here. I don't know what this is, but this is what we're looking at right here. It's what would you call it? Rocks falling from the sky, building an Aztec pyramid, and then the top of it blowing up, and then every level blowing up below that. So do with that what you will, everyone. Yeah, no idea. That's it. You guys can check it out. Go to CrossFit Games Instagram site. Instagram
yeah,
it's up there. So.
Wow.
Anyway, 2 clues. So we'll see. All right, let's get to our interview for today. Jayson Hopper was kind enough to talk to me and Tommy, I think, in between training sessions, so he didn't have a ton of time, but we had a really good conversation with him. He, of course, is coming off winning the CrossFit Games in 2025 and now looking to establish himself as the dominant force in the sport. We talked to him about the experience last year, his experience of showing up with high expectations back in 2021 and then maybe not living up to that. And then we also found out about kind of what conspiracy theory he's a fan of, or he would believe in if he had to believe in one. So it's a good conversation. So here's our interview with the 2025 fittest man on earth, Jayson Hopper. Jayson, thanks so much for joining us today, man. Where does this podcast find you today?
I am in Greenville, South Carolina right now, just on a typical Thursday. Just got done running a little bit. It's kind of like a no impact day as far as being in the gym. So just a little chill run. And yeah.
One question I wanted to ask you, speaking of South Carolina, is something I've always wanted to talk to you about, and that is your time at Clemson University.
Okay.
For people around the world who don't know, walking on at a major college program for their football team is not an easy task.
Right.
Why did you decide to try to walk on at Clemson? Because I'm sure if you were good enough to do that, you were probably good enough to get offers from other places where maybe you would have gotten more playing time. So what motivated that decision?
Yeah, I had a few offers out of high school to like Appalachian State, and it was like Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, bigger school. Like they were pretty big, but not to the caliber of like, where I wanted to be at. The interesting thing about Clemson is they recruited me. Like they were recruiting me, and they only took. The thing is, they were like, it was all about numbers. It wasn't like I was just hey, I'm going to reach out and try to be a walk on. Like they were recruiting me from sophomore year all the way to my senior year. It just the numbers didn't just work out because it's all about numbers for how many people you can give scholarships to. And I was like their 4th guy that they wanted, and they only had room for 3 guys that they were going to offer. And so we actually built a pretty close relationship, and I had gone up there and they showed me around. They treated me like as I was a scholarship guy out of high school. And so they kind of just, tugged at my heart a little bit. And so over time, and I was like, no matter what, it's going to be really challenging to not say no regardless, or not say yes, regardless of how this plays out. And so at the end of the day, the numbers just, didn't line up in my favor. But at that point, it was like, what, I've met all the coaches. I met a lot of these guys who were already in the team. And at the same time, you see these guys, like it started with Tyler Grisham in I think maybe like 2000 and early 2000s. And then there was always like one white receiver that got an opportunity in the league. It was like Tyler Grisham wore number 13. And then it was Adam Humphries wore 13. And then it was Hunter Renfro. We all know Hunter Renfro. And so it was like 13, 13, 13. And all these guys left a mark. And they were like kind of like a big part of the offense. And it was kind of like a culture thing. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm coming in. I would come in after Hunter Renfro. I would hopefully wear 13, and I would be that guy who walks on, because they all walked on besides, I think Grisham or Hunter. I think they all walked on besides Hunter Grisham. So long story short, I was wooed. And so I kind of saw myself being like next up in a way. Yeah. And so I turned down like I think maybe 5 or 6 offers to some smaller schools to kind of, and at the same time, I've always been the guy who like wants to work with the best people and wants to experience the things at the highest level and everything. And so I wanted to get a taste of the highest level in football.
Yeah. And I mean, for people who aren't familiar, like the type of athletes that were walking into the door at Clemson at that time, I mean, you're talking top 1 or 2 programs in the country, right. Multiple national titles, beating the Giants in Alabama, and that type of atmosphere. And regardless of like where things went from there, is there anything that you were able to take from that type of exposure to those caliber athletes that you carry over now into CrossFit? Because there really are, like, I use the term endearingly, like there's some freak athletes there.
No, there is. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall when I was there. I was like, all right, this is most likely the end of the course, the end of the road for me. And so, yeah, it was just next level, honestly. And there is some carryover as far as, being explosive and being an athlete, and that kind of stuff has transferred over into fitness. But man, there is, the attention to detail that you have to be at that level. So like seeing that, and then at the same time, like I was there for a year. And so I come in and I see these like big name athletes, and most people, if you're not a freak athlete and you just walk in as a 5-star recruit, you don't start playing until junior or senior year, because there is development. And so I understood that it takes time to develop. And so it wasn't going to be a quick fix on anything. I wasn't going to be an overnight success, especially playing in there. And so when I got into CrossFit, I kind of understood that a little bit, because it's kind of like development was the only thing that was really, that was happening at Clemson when I was there. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of understood the process of things that kind of carried over into CrossFit.
Yeah. That's the exact question I wanted to ask you, because we first sort of were introduced to you. You exploded onto the scene at the semifinals in Knoxville. No one really knew a whole lot about you. You beat an incredibly good field. You go to the games, you're high expectations, and then things sort of taper off a little bit. Yeah. And you did have to go through that development process. So What were you able to take from your experience at Clemson that you then applied to your journey in CrossFit?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when it comes, I kind of just realized that when you are trying to be your best, and the pursuit of that, whether it's a program, whether it's an organization, and often can feel like you're pushing the needle so hard that it may feel like when you're trying to get there, it could be like 2 steps back, 1 foot forward, mm-hmm. 2 steps back, process. And so like I had the understanding of like failure is not really failure unless, it ends. Like that's where it ends, like, so for me, I viewed failure as like a part of the process. I didn't really lose on my career unless I quit at that moment. And so I understood like, hey, this moment might feel like a step back, but it honestly could, if there's some things that I can learn and grow from and see it as part of the process to get me to where I want to be, then that really wasn't a failure. That really wasn't a loss. That's just a part of the process. And so kind of understanding that, and it's one thing to know that, mm-hmm. It's another thing to actually get cut from the CrossFit Games and like actually have to like tell yourself like this is the moment that you like in your head, about how are you actually going to walk through it. Mm-hmm. And so there have been multiple moments like that in my career. Being cut was, the biggest one. And honestly, it was a learning experience, and it was either going to be the beginning of the end for me, or it was going to be something that I look back and say, you know what, because of this moment, I was able to get to this moment. And I think that was a moment I got to decide for myself which one it was going to be. And yeah.
Well, and I think it also speaks to your mindset and development across that entire journey that has led you to be a CrossFit Games champion. Now you're the reigning fittest man on earth, and you actually said something around New Year's that I really enjoyed. That kind of touches to that, about how when you were on the floor in the finale, you felt a little bit more so at home because you had replayed that in your mm-hmm. mind a bunch. And I think that speaks to anybody that has played sports growing up. When you're shooting hoops out in your driveway and you're pretending it's the final seconds and you're Jordan or Kobe. And what does that visualization look like for you? How often are you touching into that? And what was the difference in visualizing it and experiencing it, playing it out in real time?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you naturally have these, you're daydreaming. It could be in the shower. Yeah. It could be, you can't go to sleep and you're just thinking of these moments. It could look like a lot of things, honestly. And they've happened ever since I, started saying, hey, I want to go to the CrossFit Games and I want to win the CrossFit Games and I'll be the fittest man on earth as soon as and during that time where I was in football transitioning out, like I said, there's never like moment. I never was like this guy who would like sit down and like, okay, turn the lights off. Let's visualize or go like through like a process of things. But, you know, like I said, little moments. It could be in the car listening to music and no one's in the car with you and you're just in your own head thinking about where you want to go and what you want to experience, and things just naturally happen. And I don't know if anybody else feels, you know, has these moments, but I do. And so seeing it over and over, or it could be getting done with, you know, a hard session in the gym and you're just cooked on the floor and you're just, you know, those moments are highs because you just gave it your all and you're sweaty on the floor and it's just like you have this release and it's like, man, like I can't wait to see all this play out. And like visual moments, like where do I want this? What do I see right now? And so to answer your question, just over the last 7 years, there have been moments where it's just over and over and over. I see myself in this moment, winning the CrossFit Games, seeing, you know, walking out there. I'm in the leader's jersey. I don't know what event we're doing. We're probably finishing on a lunge. So like even like visualizing that stuff and walking out there, I remember just thinking I've somehow been here 1,000 times and I know exactly this feeling. I felt this pressure before. I know what's on the line. And more than all of that, I've also seen how this plays out.
Getting there is one thing. Staying there is now another.
Right.
How does now staying on top affect the way, if at all, you approach things?
I've gotten soft. I'm kidding. That's a good question. Honestly, when I got back from the games, I started like looking into this a little bit and like starting to think, because for me, it was never to like win multiple. It was never to win, you know, be the most decorated athlete or have the most, you know, wins. It was just to win the CrossFit Games. And that's kind of like the only thing that I set out to do. And so when I accomplished it, there was a big, like, now what, you know, like what was, because I didn't really know how I was going to feel after, like, do I want to even, I was scared. I was like, going to like not want to do this anymore. Like that was actually a thought. Like I just did it. Like what will happen to my motivation, my drive? And so I get home and I'm like, I had to think back to like why I do CrossFit. Like I didn't really start CrossFit just to win the CrossFit Games. At the core of it all, I do CrossFit because I love to compete and I love to push myself. And so like coming back home and that being the reason why I keep doing it was what I needed. And because at the same time, like I had to figure that out, because I did, in a sense, have been training to win the CrossFit Games. And when I came home, it was like, okay, like, again, like you said, now what, you know? And so I had to like figure out what my why was actually at the core of all of this. And like I said, I realized I love to compete. I love to throw down with the boys, and I love to win, and I love to race, and I love all the things that come with that. And like I said, I want it more than I ever have. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird feeling that like I'm going to probably go into next year without the monkey on my back, as far as like, you know, I've already done it. I don't need to prove anything. But at the same time, still just as hungry as I ever have been.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How does that dynamic of the Boys Interrupted crew play into that and that motivation? Because we spoke about this with Dallin yesterday, and I think the added thing of having to make content and put out something regularly, but also having it with your competitors is kind of like this double-edged sword sometimes, but it also can be very motivating because it's the people you want to compete with the most.
Right. You know, I don't know. I'm just having this thought now. I don't know if I'd be as hungry to win after I won. So I just won. I don't know if I would be as hungry to win the CrossFit Games now if I weren't boys with all those guys.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
I hate losing to those dudes. And so, and so I don't know if the drive would be there, but it is, because I just don't want to see Dallin Pepper win the CrossFit
Is Dallin the guy that like gets under your skin the most? Like, is he the one guy that knows how to push your buttons, and that's why you're saying that?
No, he's definitely the rival.
Okay,
but I also don't like losing to Justin. I'm okay with losing to James. James is a great winner.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's what, got it. All
interesting. Right. Okay, well, because Dallin mentioned something about that too. He said you're the guy that he wants to beat the most, but also like your guys' relationship has developed the most in terms of being close and being boys. And I do think it's kind of a competition and like wanting to beat someone. A lot of times is a proxy for like how guys like kind of show affection and like buddy up with each other. You know, it's like that healthy conversation.
How can I put it? I think I feel towards Justin how he feels about me, in that when we win, you know that we won. And so when I'm around Justin and he beats me, like he definitely wears that swagger on his sleeve, and that's what I don't want from him. But then Dallin's, the closest to Dallin out of the bunch. And so I don't want to lose to him. So I have two guys I don't want to lose to, but for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe putting a medal on and doing some dumbbell snatches while talking some trash on an IG video. I think that's some good stuff. But it's funny because
that's all show business.
Yeah, exactly. But I also feel like that was one of the videos where I'm like, Jason's fully out of his shell now.
Yeah,
I think sometimes when you're like coming up in a sport and you're trying to be competitive and be the best, you almost have, maybe there's a feeling that you have to be muted a little bit to just be focused on competing.
Yeah.
And like you said, the monkey's off your back. Do you feel like you've been able to show more of your personality as a result?
Yeah, I think, I don't think winning has opened me up that much. I think, probably last year I kind of stepped into like, all right, honestly, after the Vermont experience, getting back home, I was like, this could be done a million different ways. That was kind of my biggest takeaway. It was like, okay, this is how I felt my first couple of years. Went to Vermont. I felt like I was put into a shell, and now I came back. I've seen what works, what doesn't for me, and I've seen this could actually work. Having a personality in the space, doing social media, doing this and that, and I just was like, hey, I'm gonna be me. I'm Instagram. And, I'm going to be me on the floor, and, how you perceive it, that's you, and that's for you. And I'm just going to do my thing and live my life. And, I feel like after last year was like the moment where I was like, I'm just going to be myself. And
I know you got to get going, so I have one last question for you.
I got like 10 more minutes.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, then,
cool.
Well, I'll ask this anyway. If you could sort of put a theme or a word that is going to describe your 2026 season, what would that be and why?
I would say hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I know I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
I'm just as hungry. I think that's the thing I've been thinking about the most. And honestly, I've been very happy with how hungry I've been to win again, because like I said, it was a big question mark after I did win. Like, will I get too content? Will I get soft? Will I, not want to hurt as much or not want it as bad? And I've realized that, that's just not who I am. I'm never satisfied. And, I don't want to win because of necessarily the results. I want to win because of the pride. I want to win because I love winning. And I've coming to that understanding after the games. You can only come to that understanding after you win, after you're actually like, okay. So like when I got to this understanding, it was like, I was pretty happy with it. And it wasn't like an overnight thing. And so I would say I'm very hungry, and I'm very excited about, and it's already started, honestly, but pushing the needle, not taking shortcuts. And I'm not saying every day is, perfect, but as we ramp into the season, I'm looking forward to taking steps. It's not something that I'm like dreading, or it's not something that I'm like, oh, this time's coming again where I have to do this, or I have to get ready. It's like, I'm doing everything now to like almost savor those moments to come and protect myself from not getting burnout. Because I think I'm kind of eager to start pushing that needle a little bit more.
That's great. And it's always interesting to see where champions feel like they can grow, right? We've had conversations over the years after someone wins and they're like, actually, I'm like, this year I wasn't really good at running, or this year I wasn't really good at this. And like, I think I can really improve here. I'm only like at 20% capacity. What is that area of focus for you right now?
I mean, it's always been like high skills. It's always been, anything that's requires a lot of body awareness. And it's weird because I'm an athlete, and you would think that I'm like, some of that stuff comes easy, and some of it does, but some of it I've learned it doesn't translate to absolutely everything. At least for me, it doesn't. Being athletic, I guess. And so, being upside down or learning a new skill or doing something on the rings for the first time at the games, like it takes time for me to learn those things. It takes time for me to perfect those things and learn how to, maneuver through things like that. I can't just pick it up on the fly. And so that's always been a work in progress. I mean, we've been seeing it with the log muscle ups at Rogue. It's like, I'm not bad at muscle up or bar muscle ups. Like, it's just that log it's not a capacity thing. It's more of a technique thing, and learning how to do it the right way. That's always been the thing that just bites me in the butt. So like learning how to do skills like this, that it seems like everybody else picks up very quickly.
Yeah. Well, and
that's always been the focus.
Yeah. And speaking of skill acquisition, maybe this doesn't fall into that, but I feel like you've, as a result of, obviously being the champ and being a little bit more active out there and having that title, you've been able to experience some pretty cool stuff. I feel like in the last 6 months, like the Cam Hanes experience, like trying to hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball with the holidays. I don't know, like on the outside looking in, that just looks cool. Is there anything you're picking up from those experiences? And it seems like in the realm of fitness, there's always something to be gleaned from that.
Right. I think, I've just been, those guys are all high performers in their own regard. And so just being around those guys and, hear them talk about their craft and how they get better is very different than how I get better every single day, because I'm going into a gym. Cam is, messing with a bow. Jackson, Ethan Holiday are hitting baseball bats or swinging baseball bats. And so, but a lot of that stuff is same, like the mindset, the attention to detail, the details when it comes to off of the floor. What are you doing when you're not on the field, or when you're like not, you don't have a bow in your hand? Like what are the things you're doing to make sure like you're progressing still? And so like there's a lot of things that those guys have that I gleaned from, saw a lot of like similarities in, but also learned from, because there are some things that, I've learned and saw that I'm like, oh, I have that has nothing to do with CrossFit, that has nothing to do with fitness. And I think just seeing those guys operate at a very high level, they're the best in their sport, and just being around those guys and just seeing what it takes. And it was pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
What's something about you that people might be surprised to learn?
I don't know.
All right, let me ask this a different way.
That's a good question.
Think about that for a second.
I feel like I'm so out there. Everybody knows everything about me.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I asked. But what's a topic other than CrossFit and just fitness in general that you absolutely love just talking about?
I enjoy talking about.
Oh,
what?
He hopped off there for a second. Got it.
There we go.
All right, you're back.
Did I just cut out?
Yeah, but you start again. Just briefly.
I enjoy talking about investing.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoy talking about.
Does that involve sending me links to sign up for fantasy football? Because that was hot in the streets for Jayson Hopper for a little while.
Every year, man. I'm just trying to do some business, man. That's all.
I got you.
I'm just trying to make $1.
I got you.
I can talk about that. I can get down with talking about some conspiracies. I'm not like deep into it, but I can always. I love hearing and being involved in the conversation. I love talking about like Bible stuff, theology, stuff like that, philosophical things. That's probably the biggest thing that I would enjoy talking about, like philosophy. And I geek out about that kind of stuff. So,
do you have a favorite conspiracy theory? Like one that you're like, this is the one that I can if I was really going to go full tinfoil hat and dive into, this is the one that it would be.
Probably, I'm going to play it safe here. Probably the moon landing is probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we
Do you feel like we went to the moon, but that particular one was staged? Because I feel like there's levels to that. Some people are like, we've been there, but that wasn't it kind of thing.
You think we've been there and didn't document it or something?
No, well, everyone talks about the first moon landing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then people are like, "That's fake."
Yeah.
And some people are like, "That's fake," but I do believe that we have been there at some point for the other ones that have shown up. We were just trying to, beat the Russians or something.
I don't know. I think if I did kind of go down that rabbit hole and believe we didn't go, I would believe that we have never been.
Oh, okay. All right.
I always find it fascinating to hear the flat earth conspiracies. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the one. The one I can get into and I love learning about is the one around the Denver airport.
Oh yeah.
That is
there's a lot of stuff.
That's one. Like if I had to pick one, then I'm like, I think that might be it. But yeah, it's that one's a lot of fun.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's very intriguing. But it's so crazy that you can it's so easy to just start a conspiracy. Like remember that there's one guy who was like, yeah, these birds aren't real.
Yes.
And then birds are,
and people will believe it. That's the thing.
And then he came out and was like, yeah, I was just kidding. And they're like, no, birds are not real.
Australia is not a real country, like that kind of thing. Like it just doesn't. What? So, all right, man. Well, I know we're up against it, and you got some training you got to do, but we really appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck this season, and looking forward to seeing you out here in California for the first open announcement. And I think you and I have similar travel plans here. You're coming here, then we're both going to Columbus, and then we're both going to Miami. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, cool.
Are you? Last quick question: Are you finally going to get on the Wadapalooza team podium?
Man, if we don't do it this year, it's definitely a me thing. If we don't do it, if we don't do it this year, I'm retiring for team because I'm definitely the culprit and not getting us on there.
All right, you heard it here.
All right,
you heard it here.
Yeah,
you heard it here. You heard it here.
Well, best of luck, man, and looking forward to seeing you, and really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah. Big thanks to Jayson Hopper for taking the time to do that. I don't know about you, but I haven't interviewed him a ton. But sitting there listening to him, there was just a I don't know if it's polish or what I would call it.
Maturity, growth.
I think that's but when you say maturity, I don't like to say that because it sometimes implies that someone wasn't mature.
Wasn't immature.
But there is a level of, I guess, added maturity to him that I haven't seen in the past.
Yeah, it's introspection maybe.
I think so. Just more aware.
Yeah.
But it was great. Yeah. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I think he has definitely entered the next level of his career. Now, whatever that's going to be, because as we have talked ad nauseum here, the parity on the men's side is insane. So getting there is one thing. Staying there in this era is another.
I mean, it's granted, it's one test, right? One test of many, but it's I had this kind of comparison the other day. Is on any given day, if you showed up when Matt Fraser went to an open announcement, was there a thought that he would get beat? Maybe
no.
or was he going to walk away and win it?
Going to walk away and win it. There was
yeah, at every level, and that's at 26.1. Like Hopper could finish fourth. Yeah. And that's not a knock on him. That's not a knock on his fitness or his chances to win the games again. It's just where the sport is at, and the difference in the gaps between athletes at this level at this current time.
Yeah,
which is just crazy to think.
I love it. I think it's great.
So do I.
I really do. I think we could be entering a new. I mean, it's obviously a new era. I don't know how we're going to look back on it, but we've never seen this. I have no idea. Thing for a long time. It was pretty much, we knew when Fraser was doing his thing and Froning was doing his thing, this was going to be a coronation and not a competition. And that is not the case anymore. And I don't think it's the case anymore on the women's side, but that's a conversation for another day, at least for this season. So again, big thanks to Jayson Hopper for taking the time to do that. Okay. PRs and no reps. I don't think there's gonna be any question what my PRs are. I don't really have a no rep, so I will skip right to my PRs because I have multiple to hand out.
I have multiple as well. I was gonna no rep the end of an era, and that was mainly for Vellner.
Yeah, that's
just because.
But here, you know what? Sorry to interrupt, but here's the thing. Here's the good thing about it. At least we know this is it. At least we know we got one more, and now we can relish it, as opposed to him being. Yeah, that was it. I'm out. Oh man, I didn't have the right amount. I didn't have the chance to really appreciate it.
Yeah, so. Agreed. I'm gonna no rep the St. Mary's University.
Wait a minute. Okay.
They're known as the Gales.
Yes.
As my Santa Clara Broncos are currently playing them right now. And if Santa Clara wins, they are on the fast track to getting their first NCAA tournament bid in 30 years.
And there's first round games are in San Jose.
Yeah. So
maybe they play it close to home. Who knows?
It would be the last time they made the tournament, Steve Nash played for them.
By the way, I might have an inside track on getting some press passes to that. Those first round games. Just throwing that out there. So you and I should probably talk offline. We'll see. I can't make any promises. But I got an angle. All right.
Please, Santa Clara, don't let me down.
Well, and I mean, depending on where they're seated, they usually don't reward a low seed with, hey, guess what? You get to sleep in your own beds. That's usually not a thing. You're heading across the country. Sorry.
Yeah, right now they're slated as the last four in, and like looking at like an 11 seed.
Have fun in Albany. Like that's it.
So, Chattanooga. Here
exactly.
we come.
There you go. All right. Well, I'm going to skip right to my PRs then. I'm going to PR, of course, the U.S. men's and women's hockey teams. The incredible effort from both of them. The United States men's team had no business winning that game. And so my other PR for that reason goes to Connor Hellebuck, the goaltender, who stood on his head to get that victory. The save he made reaching back behind him, that's a puck that goes in the net 99 out of 100 times. And the fact that it didn't go in there, and the fact that Nathan McKinnon missed the wide open net, one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. I mean, now granted, the United States hit a post too, but that game was one of the best hockey games I've ever watched as far as skill level goes. And here's the crazy thing. It's been the last gold medal that we won in hockey was, of course, the Miracle on Ice year in 1980. I had just turned 6 years old, and that was sort of my first memory of hockey. Like I have very vivid memories of things around that game. So fast forward now to 2026, and I'm sitting there watching the overtime with my son who is about to turn 6. So I looked at him. I'm like, this is what I looked like the last time the United States won a gold medal. And there's been some heartbreak in there. So it was just a weird thing. And
oh my God, that's amazing.
The overtime goal together. Yeah, it was crazy. So it was a special moment for both teams. The women's effort was amazing. Seeing Hillary Knight score the tying goal and then the overtime winner from Keller. Like it was just PRs to both of them.
Yeah. What's the guy on the U.S. men's team who has a member of his family has been on every gold medal team for the U.S.?
Is it Hughes? I don't know.
No, it's he's one of the older guys. He's kind of like silver fox, gray in the beard, gray.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, what's his name? dang it.
It's not Dylan Larkin, is it?
He
was the captain.
Anyway, 15?
It was an incredible game. This is why they need to
Brock Nelson.
This is why they need. It's a good thing that professionals get to play because the best were on display. That the display of talent there. If you're not a hockey fan at all and you never watch the sport, you might think that's normal. But it was all of those players, especially when you had Macklin Celebrini and Connor McDavid on the ice at the same time. I mean, those are two people who have otherworldly talent. That's not normal. And it was incredible to watch.
There's things that you can't explain, but you watch it and you're just like that. No one else does that. Mm-hmm. When Connor McDavid gets a full head of steam and he comes downhill, down ice, you're like, and then he changes direction or stops, or you're like, and you look at how big he is. You're like, I don't know what lab you came out of, but you are someone that are doing exactly what you were made to do in this life.
Yeah, that is, you were put on this earth for one reason.
Finish second to the U.S. in the hockey.
Oh God, yeah, not win a Stanley Cup with the Edmonton.
But that was unreal.
It was a cool moment. I was sure when they went to 3-on-3 in the overtime. I'm going, there's no way. There's just too much talent on that side. There's no way that the United States is winning this. It's just a matter of time. And then Jack Hughes, American hero.
Yep.
All right. Well, those are my PRs. You got
I got two. I got a PR to the Garards. Ricky Garard got married.
Congrats, Ricky.
What looked like a beautiful ceremony, and just in time for the seasons to start. I'm also going to PR. This is one I was saving from a couple of weeks ago. This is the Brown family, who sent me one of the coolest challenge coins I've ever seen.
Oh, cool! I know you love those things.
I had a chance to speak with both of them in Europe, where husband. I'll just for I'll leave their full names out, but works overseas in the Africa Command, I believe. Mm-hmm. And sent me this awesome challenge coin. And we just had this really good conversation. I gave them 2 of our challenge coins from Talking League Fitness. And I got a card in the mail one day, and it had this really lovely note and this really cool challenge coin as an exchange and a thank you for them having a great time at the World Fitness Project Finals in Copenhagen. And it was just, it was a really nice gesture for them, and I really appreciate it. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us for today. Thanks again to Jayson Hopper. Thanks again to our sponsor, Thirdzy. Remember, your code from now until March 16th, TEF, 25% off, because, look, it's the Open, and recovery is key in the Open, so you can get through these next 3 weeks just totally beating yourself into the ground. So really appreciate them. Okay, that's it for today. For Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. Good luck with 26.1, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Crush the broadcast.
Thanks, man.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, it's good. I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right, I'm taking